And lastly, I want to ask you, this Univision town hall, we just learned that he reiterated his rhetoric and actually went further about Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio. He said, quote, they're eating other things, too, that they're not supposed to be. Do you think that rhetoric is helpful?
Well, I think that there's a lot of rhetoric that's unhelpful. You're talking about a man.
But I'm asking you about this. I'm asking you about this.
But if you're going to bring up, if we're going to bring up rhetoric, let's talk about the rhetoric. This is a guy
I want to talk about Springfield, Ohio.
How many attempts have they had to try to assassinate him? In Ohio, I mean, there were videos, wacky videos online, and there were allegedly police reports. So if we're going to talk about rhetoric, I think we should talk about both sides, rhetoric from both sides. I am someone whose house has been vandalized 3 times in the last 4 years. My car has been vandalized twice. I receive threats on a daily basis. I can tell you there's a lot of rhetoric out there that's not healthy for our country or its citizens.
And what about this particular rhetoric about Ohio?
I don't have any qualms about anything that Trump has said about Ohio.
Nancy Mace is following the second rule of MAGA. Never challenge the omnipotence of the Messiah, or you'll be banished. As a matter of fact, the more vicious you are to the least powerful people, the faster your career grows.
I'm not worried about Ohio rhetoric. I'm more worried about rhetoric that might get somebody killed.
What he has said about Ohio has been false and has arguably endangered people there, but you have no qualms, to be clear, as you said, about his rhetoric about Ohio?
I don't have anything, nothing that I've seen about what he said about Ohio gives me any sort of pause. I am worried about violent rhetoric.
Even
that
the
puts
lies.
me and my family in danger. I'm afraid when the
Well, do you care about the other people,
where I live,
Congresswoman? I hear what you're saying about yourself.
I care about everybody. I care about everybody.
Do you?
I absolutely do. And I see it on both sides too. And I've called people out. I call the balls and strikes. But to my knowledge, no one in Ohio has been threatened because of something Trump has said about Ohio, when there have been people that have given interviews about some of the challenges they've had with immigrants that are there. I haven't seen that. I think I've seen more cat memes and jokes about it than anything else.
Yeah, just a couple of cat memes and some jokes about it, right?
False claims made by the Republican running mates.
Yeah, the editor of the Haitian Times, a US-based newspaper, says that someone sent police to her house saying that someone had been murdered there. Of course, it was a hoax, but it is emblematic of the harassment Haitian immigrants have faced since Donald Trump and J.D. Vance's false accusations.
Yeah, Omar Jimenez got reaction to those claims from members of the Haitian community.
For now, he's studying to be a registered nurse. Recently, though, his schooling has been virtual because of initially believed threats of violence. Also, elementary schools and government buildings were evacuated in recent days, along with an annual festival celebrating diversity, canceled.
These threats have all been hoaxes. We have people, unfortunately, overseas who are taking these actions.
As a precaution, though, the governor announced nearly 40 state patrol troopers will be stationed throughout the school district to sweep each building for threats and stay on site for security. It comes in the middle of what's been a surge in Haitian population to the roughly 59,000 in Springfield, which had been declining in population.
I guess what Mace was saying was that she hasn't heard about anyone that she gives a damn about facing any threats due to her leader's commitment to demonize them for them trying to exist. She kind of has a track record of selective memory when it comes to controversial stories involving MAGA politicians that she needs to impress.
I know you've been outspoken about defending victims of sexual assault due to the past allegations against Jim Jordan that he turned a blind eye to sexual abuse. Give you any reservations?
I'm not familiar or aware with that. He's not indicted on anything that I'm aware of, and so I don't know anything and can't speak to that. But I will say that I have been, as you said, Margaret, I don't know anything, and I don't know anything about that. What I do know is that I've been a very strong voice for women. I've talked to Jim Jordan and Steve Scalise about that. I've been a very strong advocate for rape victims. As you mentioned earlier, the Judiciary Committee, with him as chairman, recently passed a rape kit bill that Barbara Lee and I are working on. And those are the facts and the data that I have to work with, and I've had a very positive experience with him in that regard.
In other words, as long as it benefits my career, I'm concerned about sexual assault victims. Other than that, I've never seen or heard about Jim Jordan's well-documented decision to turn a blind eye to abuse that happened right under his nose. There's this ongoing and growing characteristic among MAGA politicians that feel that they need to stay in the good graces of Trump. No matter how bad it makes him look, no matter how many times you've been asked, when truth is being shown to you, just reject it. See just how straight you can hold your face when lying. And if you need some help, just refer to the godfather of dishonesty. He couldn't care less about the cartoonish narrative that he keeps building with this lie that he created to inspire the worst people in our society to run with.
You know they eat babies. That is not bullshit. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do. By the time we go in to vote for Trump, that he will open up everybody's eyes and they will stop pretending to be asleep. You know what they say, you can't wake people up that are pretending to be asleep, but I pray to God, please wake up even those who are pretending to be asleep with the irrefutable truth of what the worst people on this planet are really up to. They are really up to that. They're doing it. There are so many victims. There are so many victims.
So this is by design. It's a suffocating and constant assault on reality with so much nonsense that by the time 5 people refute the first 10 lies, there are 25 more that have been cultivated and spread. So Roseanne's screaming about vampires and the taste of flesh is just an extra set of hurdles in place while Trump cooks up some more. To this Republican Party, boring-ass Mitt Romney sounds crazy.
The amount of disinformation is really extraordinary, although it's not just being put out by the Russians and the Chinese. I mean, former President Trump told us that the people in Springfield are eating dogs and cats, all right? I mean, he likewise said that FEMA money, our emergency money, instead of helping the people that have been hit by the hurricane, is being used to help illegals. I mean, he just makes it up. And so he is able to spew enough disinformation that the Chinese must be smiling. Now Kamala Harris also says things that are inaccurate. I mean, her pitch is that he's going to put in place Project 25, and he keeps saying, "No, I'm not doing Project 25," and she keeps saying, "Yes, you are," and runs ads about Project 25. Well, I don't know who you believe in that regard, but I surely think that President Trump, when it comes to a holiday from the truth, he's taken the longest vacation.
It's hard to believe that that guy was the presidential candidate for the party 12 years ago, and that his comments on binders full of women pretty much took him down. Compare that to the destructive nature that is Donald Trump and all the things he said and done that would have disqualified anyone back then. The normalcy of insanity moves quickly.
I suggest to you that I personally will not be voting for Donald Trump because of 3 reasons. I think his creation of, or his destruction of Roe v. Wade and the protections for abortion, the immigration reform bill that he did not embrace. Rather, he has chosen to become an absolute racist when it comes to speaking of particularly Latin undocumented immigrants, comparing them basically to animals. It's horrifying. I don't know how any Latino person of any self-esteem, any self-respect would be in favor of.
You may not know about it, Geraldo, but more Latinos are
poisoning the blood of the country and the Democrats. I am not voting for Donald Trump because I do not believe that he can be trusted to honor the Constitution of the United States. I am not voting for Donald Trump principally, aside from abortion and immigration rights. I am not voting for Donald Trump because he proved that he put himself and his own personal future ahead of the future of the country and the Constitution of the United States. That was the words from his own Vice President, Mike Pence.